Well, when Princess Kate announced her cancer diagnosis recently, she said one of the biggest priorities for her was finding the right way to tell her children.
Yeah, while families may have an instinct to protect their children from scary feelings, it's really important to talk to them about a cancer diagnosis or any other illness. We are joined now by Dr. Krystin Holmes, a licensed therapist with the Harris Center, to talk more about this difficult conversation. Thank you, doctor, for being here.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. Okay, let's start with, how does a parent's cancer diagnosis impact their children, their mental health, and their emotional well-being?
Really, a diagnosis like that impacts every facet of life. You know, the first thing I try and tell parents and kids is that kids act out through their emotions. So their feelings come out in behaviors. We see them acted out in a lot of different ways. So it can affect school. They can have increased anxiety, fears about things. You might see some different behaviors that you're not normally used to seeing.
You know, we think of many illnesses, we don't know what the outcome is going to be. So we want to protect their feelings, but be honest about what we know, what we don't know. That can be very complicated and I think scary too. Is there a certain age where I feel like it's a fine line between saying too much and maybe not enough? And is there an age where we should begin?
Sure. You know, with age, it's very difficult with a diagnosis like this. I always encourage parents communicate openly, honestly, and early. If you're going to say something, say it direct, and do it in age-appropriate ways, and that can be difficult. So when you think of very young children, it may sound different. Hey, mommy or daddy is very sick, and you're going to see some changes, where older teenagers might be able to process a little bit more. And so you don't want to wait till the last minute. You know, let the kids in early so this can be a part of their process and their journey.
Okay.
What advice do you have for, loved ones who are experiencing stress and anxiety, additional stress and anxiety through this difficult process? The
first thing I would say is definitely get support. Don't do this alone. At the Harris Center, if you just don't know where to start, we can connect you to a therapist, a support group. Definitely encourage things like educational support groups. I think it's very tempting to jump on Google and dive into answers, and sometimes that can be really just not reassuring. And so getting some professional support, diving into your community and all the people that encourage and support you.
Yeah, what's so important about that support in that nature? I mean, whether it's not even a friend or a family member, but there's really entire communities out there that in some cases rally around each other depending on the illness or the diagnosis.
Yeah, so when you look for a support group, you're going to get lots of information, right? And so what you want to do is getting information from knowledgeable sources can sometimes help reduce anxiety. And so when we think of what are ways that I can find support, like I said, getting in with a good therapist, connecting with your local mental health authority. If you or your loved one starts experiencing a crisis, because this is very scary, we encourage you to reach out to our crisis line for support.
Yeah.
Doctor, what are some of the signs that parents should really pay attention to if their kids are struggling with this, this whole process, the diagnosis, anxiety, fear? What should they look for?
Sure. So when you're looking for your kiddos acting out their feelings, with young ones, we look at things like maybe some general defiance. Maybe they don't want to sleep by themselves, or they don't want to brush their teeth or go to bed on time. For our older kids, we look at risk-taking behaviors, not coming home on time for their curfew, or doing things that are a little risky in nature.
So essentially, just at different stages of life, we could expect to see children potentially lashing out in one way, shape, or form, not being themselves. And that's an indicator that whatever the news is really starting to impact them.
Sure, and that might not even be in their awareness. They may not realize why they're acting out, but sometimes kids think, well, if I'm the problem, then this scary problem goes away.
Interesting.
Yeah. Would you say that parents should just constantly check in with their kids and ask them how they're feeling? Because sometimes there's that, every day you're busy, right? So we got to go do this. We got to go do this. If everyone just kind of stops and says, like, let's take a break, let's take a breath, let's really connect, let's talk about this.
Well, illness like cancer tends to stop everybody in their tracks. And so I think maybe having a time at night, check in and say, hey, you may not have any questions, but if you do, I'm here to listen, or this is scary for me as well. So I think parents being vulnerable with their children too, in a muted way, of letting their kid know it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to have all of these emotions, and I have them too.
How about for parents out there who maybe have a parent going through it? So now what you're talking about is multi-generational. You have a grandparent that might be sick and a child that's kind of getting wind that something's changed. And now as a parent, you want to take care of your parent, but now you want to take care of your children too. I feel like that can very quickly pile on.
Yeah, you're talking about the sandwiching effect of a
Right.
parent being in the middle. They've got their young kids, but maybe also their parent is going through a difficult time and an illness. And even though some of that may be expected, my parent is getting older, I expect for some illness to occur, it doesn't change how difficult it is. And so as a parent sitting here thinking, gosh, how do I manage my own emotions, help my children, and also deal with my adult parent who's aging, taking it one day at a time, and again, reaching out for that support and that help, getting connected with a good therapist, because it's a little bit different. We go to therapists, we go to our barbers, we go to our friends, but sometimes just that objective third party that's not within your family that can say, yes, this is a sad situation and it's damaging for everybody, but how can we help support just you?
Is that why that expert opinion is so much better? I mean, nothing against the guy who cuts my hair. James and I are close friends. I tell him everything, but maybe his advice is the friendly advice, but we really need that professional.
Well, hey, as therapists, we don't really give a lot of advice. We sit and listen and process, and sometimes you just need that open space to validate your feelings. And again, at the Harris Center, we've got a lot of great professional listeners who can listen, reflect your feelings, and let you know everything is, well, it may not be okay, you will get through it.
Yeah, and as parents, I think we just want to help everyone and take care of everyone, and we don't check in with ourselves either. I mean, I'm sure there's symptoms that we should look out for when we need help, and even before that.
Sure, things like anxiety, if you feel yourself starting to get really overwhelmed, even the small things that normally you would say, hey, I can brush that off, I'm okay. If that's just not working for you, you may need to check in and just have some time to yourself. Even if that's just the 45 minutes of time that you speak with your therapist, that's you and only you. You're not focusing on being super mom or super dad.
Yeah, you need that break, and that's why it's so great that you guys are available. How, again, do people reach out to you? How can they find that help here in Harris County?
So we have our website at theharriscenter.org. That's the first place I would recommend starting. We also have our crisis line, but you can also call it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 713-970-7000. You can also text 988 if you're in crisis. We do manage the 988 line as well. So a lot of different ways to connect, but we encourage everyone in Houston and the surrounding areas, if you need help, we're here to help you out.
All right, Dr. Krystin Holmes, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.